Shalom. We're here at the last lesson here at Megiddo, and what I wanted to do is give you a panorama of a very significant piece of geography. What you're looking at here over my left shoulder, looking to your right, is the ending pieces of the Carmel Range, and the Carmel Range extends all the way to Haifa and all the way to the sea, and perhaps maybe 5-6 miles, maybe 7 miles from here is the traditional Catholic site where they say Elijah had the encounter with the priest of Baal. And then as Robin pans the camera back towards this way, towards me and beyond, the Carmel Range itself blends into the mountains of Samaria behind us. I won't tell you exactly where, that's really not the issue. But as she pans to the right, someplace here is another famous site, and that is the Valley of Dothan. The Valley of Dothan, if you remember, Joseph of the many-colored coat, his brothers tried to kill him, but he was saved, thrown in a pit, and sold to the Midianite traders. That happened someplace in here. As you're beginning to now see, as Robin has panned to that area around Dothan, the actual Jezreel Valley. You might say the breadbasket of all Israel. In the distance also, you can see the mountains ending here in the Jezreel, and that's Mount Gilboa. Mount Gilboa, again, is famous. You remember Saul and Jonathan's other two brothers were defeated by the Philistines. They were defeated by the Philistines just across the valley, and if you remember, they were actually defeated and killed there on Mount Gilboa, and actually nailed to the wall of Beth-Shan, which is further down the valley. The valley flattens out here, and that goes straight down and actually goes down in terms of elevation down to the Jordan Valley, which we know as the Great Rift Valley. And at the end of that valley is Beth-Shan. In Jesus' day, it was known as Scythopolis. And then the next hill range off here to your left, and again, my right as I'm standing facing you, is the Hill of Moreh. And with regards to the Hill of Moreh, on your right side, at the lower part of the hill, there's a town called Shunem. And on the other side is a town called Nain. Now, when you actually take a look at the Bible for the Hill of Moreh, we know that Elisha raises a boy from the dead in the town of Shunem, the Shunammite woman. However, 1 mile away, in Jesus' day, Jesus raises a young man from the dead. And the interesting statement in the Bible is, and you can take a look at it yourself, is that they say a great prophet has risen here, there at Moreh. Next to Moreh, the Hill of Moreh, is the M&M of Israel. If you see that hill and it looks like an M&M, that's Mount Tabor. Mount Tabor between Moreh and the ridge of Nazareth. Some people say, and it's a Catholic tradition, that Jesus did the transfiguration there. Probably not. The reason being is a number of pieces of evidence. One is that at Mount Tabor there was a Roman garrison located on Mount Tabor, and so Jesus went to a mountain, and the transfiguration, the Romans would have seen it. And more than likely it didn't happen there. The mountains and hills that you see to the left of Tabor is the Nazareth Range, and perhaps you can see on top of that a sprinkling of white. I don't know how it looks on the camera, but those are houses of Nazareth today. Nazareth in Jesus' day was just a small village, probably 250 people at tops, but now it's a thriving city of about, I think it's probably about 500,000. You can probably check that for yourself. It's a twin cities, so those of you that live in Minneapolis and St. Paul, we can see that Jesus grew up in the Nazareth, which became the twin cities of Israel, because there are two mayors in one town. One is the Muslim mayor and one is the Hebrew mayor. So it's a very interesting panorama of the Jezreel Valley here. And to finish off our lesson here at Megiddo, I wanted to go to the specific Bible verse that we know in the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, now, I have the New American Standard. The New American Standard Bible is not the NIV. It's not the Good News Bible. The King James Version and the New American Standard are closest to the biblical Greek. The NIV is not. Just to give you a perspective, it's not a criticism of the NIV, but if you want the Bible translations closest to the biblical Greek and Hebrew, you go to the King James and the New American Standard. If you want a Bible that's readable, and King James can be difficult, same thing with the New American Standard, because it's trying to come directly out of the Greek and the Hebrew, is the NIV, Good Study Bible. However, due to the fact that the translators are trying to, in a sense, make it more readable, things get lost in translation. You get to the Good News Bible, or you get to other Bibles that are way out there, they're so far away from the text. I urge you strongly to try to, as much as you can, maintain a text of the Bible that's closest to the ancient Greek and Hebrew. So when I read Revelation 16, starting in verse 13, it says this, "And I saw coming out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs. And they are spirits of demons performing signs which go out to the kings of the whole world to gather them together for the war of the great day of God." Now let me just stop there. This is important. It says that all the nations of the earth will be gathered for a battle. That is so critical. Remember what I said. As you come to Israel, as you come to this land, we understand this is one book written to Jewish people, by Jewish people, for Jewish people, and for us who have been grafted into our Hebrew heritage. This is so key and so critical as we understand this background. Okay, so statement number one is that these kings of the whole world, all the nations, will be gathered together for a great day, the great day of God the Almighty. He says, "Behold, I'm coming like a thief. Blessed is the one who stays awake and keeps his clothes, so that he will not walk about naked, and men will not see his shame." And they gathered them together to the place which in Hebrew is called Har Megiddo. Har Megiddo. In the NIV it says Armageddon. Even here at Megiddo, it talks about the fact that that is a corruption of the biblical Greek. It doesn't say Armageddon, never did. But for some reason, Christians who are so disconnected from this land say this is where the final battle is going to be. Now, it doesn't say the battle's here, but they're gathered together here at Har Megiddo.